I was sitting 3 rows from the back, my hands folded tight in my lap, already knowing what they were laughing at. Her shoes were worn thin at the toes. Her sweater had been washed so many times it no longer knew its original color, and the notebook she held to her chest was bent at the corners, the pages inside filled with poems written in pencil so they could be erased if the world decided they weren't good enough. Maya stopped at the foot of the steps and hesitated. For half a second, I prayed she'd turn around, that she'd come back to me and say she'd changed her mind. I would have told her it was okay, that bravery doesn't always mean standing in front of people who are ready to tear you apart. But she lifted her chin and climbed the steps anyway. We didn't have much. Everyone knew that. Our apartment sat above a closed-down bakery with boarded windows and a smell of old yeast that never really went away. The heater worked only when it felt like it. Most nights, Maya did her homework wrapped in a blanket, her breath fogging the air while she whispered lines of poetry to herself, like, words were her escape. She wrote on napkins, receipts, the backs of unpaid bills. She said words were lighter than things, easier to carry when you didn't own much else. When her school announced the annual spoken word showcase, she taped the flyer above the sink. "I want to read something," she said casually, like she wasn't already terrified. I looked at her reflection in the cracked mirror, the way her shoulders pulled inward, like she was bracing for a blow. "Those kids don't always understand," I warned gently. She nodded. "But maybe someone will." The weeks before the showcase were quiet but heavy. She practiced at night, reading softly so she wouldn't disturb the neighbors. Sometimes her voice shook. Sometimes she stopped halfway through a poem and tore the page out. "I don't know if it's good," she whispered once. I told her the truth. "It's honest. That matters more." The night of the event, the auditorium glowed too brightly. Students wore pressed clothes, confident smiles. Parents held phones high, ready to record perfection. Maya stood beside me, fingers trembling around her notebook. When her name was called, she squeezed my hand once. "If I freeze," she said, trying to joke, "pretend I fainted." She walked onto that stage alone. No music, no costume, just a girl and her words. The laughter came immediately. Someone whispered, "What's she wearing?" Someone else said, "This'll be depressing." Maya stepped up to the mic. The stand was too high. She adjusted it, her hands shaking so badly the metal squeaked. She opened her notebook. Her voice didn't come out at first. The silence stretched, uncomfortable, impatient, a cough, a snicker. Then she spoke. "My house is loud," she began, her voice barely above a whisper. "Not with people, with pipes and regrets, and the sound of wanting more." Someone laughed again. Her voice cracked. I felt my heart break in slow motion. For one awful moment, I thought she would close the notebook and run. I saw it in her eyes, the urge to disappear, to become smaller than the room demanded. Instead, she inhaled, deep, steady, and kept going. She spoke about empty cupboards and full dreams, about wearing shame like a second coat, about learning to shrink her hopes so they wouldn't embarrass anyone else. Her voice grew stronger with every line, as if the truth itself was holding her upright. The laughter faded, not all at once, but piece by piece. You could feel it, the shift, the realization spreading through the room that this wasn't something to gawk at. This was something real. Then a boy in the front row muttered, "Whatever," and laughed again. Maya faltered. The word hit her like a shove. She looked down at the page. Her hands trembled. The silence waited, heavy and cruel. That's when a voice from the side of the auditorium spoke. "Let her finish." A man stood near the exit, older, calm, the kind of stillness that doesn't ask permission. The teachers turned, startled. The students went quiet. Maya looked up. The man nodded once, not dramatic, just certain. She swallowed. and began again. This time, her voice didn't shake. She spoke louder, clearer, not begging to be heard, claiming it. Her words cut through the room like light through dust. "When you laugh at me," she said, "you don't make me smaller. You tell me exactly how afraid you are of a girl who refuses to disappear." The room froze. When she finished, she closed the notebook slowly. No flourish, no smile, just truth laid bare. For a breathless second, no one moved. Then someone clapped, then another. Then the entire auditorium stood. I cried openly. I didn't care who saw. The man approached the stage after, introducing himself quietly as a writer who worked with young voices. He told Maya she had something rare, something unteachable. "Don't let anyone convince you to soften it," he said. On the drive home, Maya stared out the window, silent. Finally, she whispered, "They laughed at first." "Yes," I said, "but they listened at the end." She nodded. "That's enough." Years later, she stood on bigger stages. Her words traveled farther than we ever had, but she never forgot that night. The laughter, the fear, the choice to stay. And neither did I. Because courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it trembles and speaks anyway.